Hello, I'm Floyd Arthur Wheeler. I go by Beau. I'm Arthur Wheeler the third, and so we all had nicknames. We own a spirits company here in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. We set out to make spirits the best possible spirits we can in each category. So I'm a bourbon guy. I love bourbon, and what I wanted to do was create other spirits for my friends who enjoy vodka, rum, gin, tequila, whatever it is, to be able to have a bottle that they know is of high quality and that was produced with good intentions. So we sell our spirits via our website, and right now we're distributed in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. And you can find us at stores and a few restaurants. But if you want to know exactly where, arthurwheeler.com or www.awsco.co.
All right, today I wanted to do something special. I came up with an idea that I wanted to highlight Black, specifically minority business owners, and I thought that it would be great to call it Community Spotlight, meaning that these are the people who are in the community. We know them, they're entrepreneurs like us, but I thought it would be a great idea to actually interview business owners such as yourself to kind of allow the people to be exposed to you and vice versa, be exposed to us. So I just got a couple questions that'll help people understand who you are, what you do, and why. And then we'll just have a candid conversation. We might do some tasting. I mean, the beverages that you see, they got awards. They know what they're doing. All right. So what I was gonna say was, it's not gonna be too, just be honest. Just be free.
Absolutely.
Speak. I would say as far as language, we don't mind a little cursing, but again, it's still professional, so we want to keep it as professional as possible. So my name is Kevin Williams. I am the co-founder of T.Y.P.E Inc., teaching youth prosperity and excellence. And again, this is just our idea of highlighting community members and owners, business owners, entrepreneurs, and just allowing them to have some marketing on our platform as well as us having some marketing on their platform so that we kind of know each other. So my first question was, what inspired you to get involved in the business?
Okay. So my inspiration came from the business. It really was sort of maybe not the traditional sort of I just wanted to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I started to realize over time that I was good at tasting spirits. I joke to say, hey, I was just good at drinking, but but it was more than that. It was, I believe I have a good palate, right? So like one of the things I also do is barbecue, and I'm a Kansas City barbecue judge.
Yes, indeed.
And these kind of things. So I would just seem to be good at tasting whiskey, picking things that my friends would like. And then I started experimenting with like blending different whiskeys together to create flavor profiles I was specifically looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was later on, maybe 6 years after I started doing that I realized that I could actually do it as a business. And so then I kind of went down a rabbit hole to try to figure out how I could do it as a business. So it just really started with me having a preference for particularly bourbon, and then just sort of growing that from a hobby to something that I was interested in doing and more methodically. And then it ended up, rolling into this business. Yeah.
So in terms of process, like how hard was the process? Because we know this is a alcohol beverage, so we know there's a lot of laws and legalities with that. So was the process hard?
Yeah, the process is definitely not easy. It is, the processes are all laid out for you. However, getting through each one takes a whole lot of time. So when I say that, this is a business that's regulated by the federal government, the state government, and your local municipality government.
All
so
three.
For us, the county, yes.
Okay.
So, and if we were in, an incorporated city, there might even be more restrictions. So you have to know what those all are going into it.
Okay.
And we definitely didn't have a good understanding of that. So we had to put a lease on a place and get a space in order to get the federal license, which is your first stop.
Okay.
But then it took another 3.5 years of being in a lease. So we paying money on the lease without having any kind of product.
Oh, wow. That's
because
tough.
now
Okay.
we're working through their process, and the state process, and the county process. That doesn't even include construction, product, inventory, business process. So it's quite a bit. The best thing I could tell people for any industry and what helped me a lot was If you have a local trade organization that that is, into the political side for businesses like yours, so be that whether it's fashion, whether it's alcohol, whether it's landscaping, or any other kind of beverage, there's usually a trade organization of people who do it professionally. That's a group.
Right.
Find that group, and then they will be able to give you more information than you'll ever find on your own. So they were able to give me basically a checklist that said, hey, this is all the things you got to do.
Oh, so no gatekeeping.
Yeah, no gatekeeping. Because they want you to be in the business because they benefit when you benefit.
Makes sense.
And you got to find people like that in every aspect of the business when you start to make partnerships and build relationships. Every business is a relationship business. So those organizations, we call them guilds. So for us, it's the Distillers Guild. They're better served when there are more people in the guild. So they want to help you get in the guild. But it's just like a labor union or anything else. You want to find those people that know the trade, know the job, and then the other piece is publications. So trade magazines that inform not only consumers but mostly retailers and restaurant owners. You want to make sure you're reading those as well, so you know what's the cutting edge in the industry. What is everybody talking about? What are people interested in? From the people who would be purchasing your product, what are those people interested in as well? So definitely those kind of organizations help navigate, for any business, navigate your standing up process. And even once you get started, for sure.
And so you been in Prince George's County, like, what's that impact? Like, I'm pretty sure you just spoke about relationships in terms of starting. So how's that relationship been with PG County in terms of you or promoting you or, kind of uplifting you, supporting you? Like, how's that been?
Fantastic.
Okay.
I think my county gets a bad rap sometimes. And for me, when we ran into issues with the county, it was because of something we missed, didn't understand, or didn't do properly. It wasn't because it was any kind of direct, putting us off or anything like that. It was really those things that we had to be smart about. We had to make sure that when we were getting our permits and when we were doing construction, that we were smart about the process. We had a project manager that knew how to execute the process, those kind of things. And in terms from like community support, again, it's been fantastic. A lot of people in the county still don't know we are even here, but the people that do, they come back over and over and over again. So like everybody that's at the bar, our cocktail lounge out there, those are all regulars.
Okay.
They're members of our membership, so they pay to be in our membership, so they come back quite often. They're invested in our success. Okay. The local government has been, and state government has been extremely supportive of us. Again, all of those organizations kind of benefit from a tax base that we create with selling spirits and having a cocktail bar. Okay. But even more than that, I think people were very much wanting something like this in the county, which is why we opened it here. Okay. So I could have had a bottle on the shelf at any time in the last 6 years, but I chose to have a space. Nothing wrong with having a bottle on the shelf. A lot of good producers and makers go that route. Right. And they have their own, they just put the bottle on the shelf, but they don't have a space. We wanted to be in the community. I grew up 10 minutes down the road on 301. I went to elementary school, high school, and college in Prince George's County. So I wanted to be in the county. And it's paid off and we also host community pop-ups here for free. So if you have something like, we just had a young lady, Apartment 105 Books. Okay. She's trying to start a Black-owned bookstore. And so we let her pop up for free to sell her books at the front of the distillery. Oh, that's awesome. Whenever she wants. Okay. We have charcuterie folks come through, cookies, popcorn, dresses, anything you can imagine that if people are doing right here in the community, they can come here for free. And we all benefit. They bring new people here that are coming to buy from them. Yeah. And then we're giving them a space, complimentary, so that they can sell their goods, because we know how hard it is to try to get 4 walls around the business. Absolutely.
And I was going to kind of ask about the community work in terms of how has that impact. You being from Prince George's County, you kind of bring your business here. So like, how are there any opportunities that you would like kind of see in terms of doing any community work?
Absolutely. I mean, they're all over the place. I think first and foremost, if there's ever been any time post like the civil rights movement for us to circle the wagons within our community and start spending our dollars within the community is now. Like,
Okay.
I think everybody's clear with this, what's happening in this economy for the most part. And the way you take action in that is to support the folks that you want to be around when all the dust settles. And,
Right.
and that's each other.
Right.
So like we try to do as much business in the county with county partners as we can when we're spending our dollars. And again, that's why we wanted to be here, so that, because when I still live here. I live 20 minutes down the road now, so I haven't gone very far.
Right.
But I would, in order to get a good old fashioned, no disrespect to any organization that's established.
Nah, talk your talk.
I would go to Annapolis, Old Town, DC, and then I'm paying for parking. So I'm not just paying for a night and a meal. I got to pay for all the logistics
That goes around it.
And then I got to figure out, how I'm getting home and the traffic and the time and all that. So we wanted to put something in the community that people can enjoy. And also be a hub for people that wanted to meet. So we recently had this week cyber security professionals of Maryland had just a happy hour here. And
Okay.
we met other people that now can do business with each other. Most of them look like us. And now they know that each other exists. And
Right.
maybe I'm working on an app over here, but you're working on your
Right.
user interfaces over here.
Right.
And now y'all found each other here. Same way for every industry. Like, that's what we want to be. We want to be that kind of space. So I think there's so much more opportunities. And I think, I just said it earlier today, like in a tour, like we have to get into the mindset of the rising tide, like floats all boats. And I think a lot of people, that means you have to pour into something.
Correct.
And a lot of people want to be the boat.
Yeah, I agree.
And so,
Yeah.
You just keep having conversations and keep trying to explain, how we can all grow together is the biggest thing. Mutually successful. Like, I'm not going to ask you for anything for free. Let's do it together.
Right.
I pay you, you pay me,
Right.
and then we
I like that.
we grow that flywheel.
I like that. Can you share a pivotal moment that really shaped your path?
That yeah, for sure. So I was experimenting with spirits in my basement blending probably from 2011 to 2015, 2016 when I realized I could do it as a business. I read an article on Whiskey Advocate magazine about Bardstown bourbon and barrel bourbon. They were buying barrels. And so then was when I thought, okay, this might be possible. But at that moment, in the industry, people of color represented maybe 50 to 55% of the business, of the industry, the sales, but 0.01% of any wealth generated. If you got any wealth out of the alcohol business, it's probably because you owned a bar or a liquor store or something like that.
Okay.
There weren't any makers that I was aware of.
Okay.
There were some, they were very, very small and I did not know about them, but 0.1%. And then the watershed moment is Uncle Nearest comes out, 2017.
Yes.
And at that point, now you have representation. And so now I can see someone that looks like me doing something that I've been thinking and talking about doing. And so that combined with, around that same time, my parents kind of set me down and told me that it was okay to get into this business. Because that was one thing, I knew I was actually good at this, but alcohol has a connotation to it. My
Yep.
grandparents had a complicated relationship with alcohol. My parents don't really drink at all.
Okay.
So I stayed away from it because it could be potentially perceived negatively, right?
Right.
But they sat me down and said, no, you do this different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You all come together to celebrate, commiserate, to hang out and enjoy each other's company, not to try to cope with trauma
Right.
or some other thing that's happening, which is sort of the history behind
Right.
how we get to addictions and abuse, right?
Right.
So they sat me down around that same time and essentially said, you should do this. We feel like you're good at it and you
That's
can make it
what's
work.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, just piggybacking off what you were just saying, what challenges did you face getting started, and how did you kind of like overcome them?
I think any place, anything you're getting into, the challenges become your path. So the only way around them is through them, and so you have to face them head on every single time. And any business is going to have them. We had a ton of them with. I could talk to you for 2 days about the challenges that we had, trying to get this business open.
Right.
Capital and cash flow is the main one.
Okay.
But even in that, it's hard to know, at least in this business, how much you're going to need. Alcohol is one of those things where you're not. Our youngest spirit that we use for our bourbon and whiskeys is 5.5 years old. That
Okay.
means I've been in the business for 5.5 years before I know if it's even worth selling or if it's good.
Okay.
Right. So, you got a lot of upfront capital that you put into it in investment to try to get on the other side. So I think understanding capital, cash flow, corporate structure, like those things, they don't seem like challenges to start because you can just write them down and say this is what we're going to do, but you really got to understand them. Like I did basically a Coursera course from University of Virginia on accounting just to try to understand accounting language while I was doing this. And then what I didn't do, which I wish I had done, was spent more time learning about corporate structure and what that means for when it's time for you to go fundraise.
It's very important.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, those things continue to be challenges for us as we go.
And we are learning it now, just with our business. We are learning like so much, and I think it's helping us kind of continue to move forward as well. So it's just like
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Figuring it out though, it gets you another level of confidence and another perspective for your future. Like that's the other thing is, you just got to know that there's something on the other side when you get through those.
And so I kind of mentioned this a little bit, but this is kind of a little bit more detailed. So how does your work impact the community in short term and in long term?
So I think in short term, being that community hub is one of the ways that we want to impact. We've been able to also put together a couple of fundraisers and drives. So we've Year Up is an organization that helps people move from minimum wage to larger salaries. We did a business attire drive for them, for the students and the people that are in that program.
Okay.
Then we did, I think it's the United Coalition Against Poverty. I always mess up the acronym.
Okay.
Where we did a toy drive for that for them. We've done it both years that we've been in business for Christmas.
Okay.
And then recently we've also been a collection hub for our extended community in Jamaica after the hurricane.
Absolutely.
To be able to send product down there. So
absolutely.
The way that we impact short term is being very intentional about doing those kind of things.
Okay.
And then again, creating those spaces for community, like either businesses or groups to have a place where they can come just talk.
Yeah.
Long term, what we hope to do is even, reimagine folks' relationship with alcohol. So like one of the things that we spend a lot of time on is being intentional about what goes in the bottle, and we talk to people about it.
Yeah.
When they come for the tours, we educate them on how we make our spirits and why that matters. We've all heard horror stories of people going to like the islands or somewhere else and having something to drink and getting sick or worse, right?
Yes.
And so it's important if you're going to partake in spirits that you know how to nose the spirit and know what the flavor is on your nose and on your palate. So like when you go to wherever your resort and you get something, I always get my Jack and Coke separate on a resort.
Right.
I know that's Jack.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I know what I'm drinking.
Right.
And so just helping people educate, and then also, really pushing that idea of celebratory living. That we come together to celebrate. We don't abuse, we don't overindulge, but we come, it helps to make social settings a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable as we come together to celebrate. So I'll shout out to Mike Joyner, celebratory living. That's his tagline. That's his tagline.
So who or what keeps you motivated when things get tough?
Number one, my wife.
Okay.
We go back and forth. She'll tell you, she quits 2 times a day, and I rehire her every time she quits.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I told her she in the alumni program. She quit. That's all right. You stay in the alumni program. We'll bring you back when you're ready.
Oh, wow.
So that happened 3 times a day.
Okay.
Because this is the only thing I might change if I had to do all over again was start 10 years earlier.
Okay.
This is it's a lot of work. The first 6 months I was distributing myself, so boxes on the shoulder, driving around, trying to, open accounts and all that. And I'm getting close to 50 years old, so standing on my feet all day doing tastings and talking, it can wear you out. Yeah. And we put a lot of work into making a really good product, and so sometimes it can get challenging when you don't think it's selling the way it should, or you didn't get the response you thought you would, and those kind of things. For the most part, we get a great response, but everybody's palate's different. What people are looking for is different. The industry itself is in a sea change in terms of alcohol and spirits, beer and wine, all of it. So you just never know the challenges someone else is or the headwinds someone else is facing that you're trying to partner with. You just never know what the challenges they're facing.
Right.
So all of that can be, tough and wear on you. And so we lean on each other. We talk it out. We have rules about, not talking about it past the bedroom door.
Right.
Because otherwise we'll stay up all night chopping it up
right.
on things like that. So, I mean, she keeps me motivated. And then my family too, my parents, they'll be on the bottom line. They come
as
in
they should.
free. Yeah, working for free. My
yeah.
dad polishes every bottle before it goes to the box.
That's what's up.
How
does that feel though? Like how does that support feel?
Oh, it feels amazing. Like anytime they're here and I get to sit and talk with them while we're doing this, it makes it enjoyable, gives you energy.
Right.
It makes you, it helps you remember, his name is on the bottle. My grandfather's name is on the bottle.
Okay.
So it's Arthur Wheeler is my grandfather.
Okay.
So those things just re-energize me. That's what they do for me. It gives me a recharge. And it's the same way around being, family in general. Whenever I'm around my family, I get a little bit of boost of energy for, that sustains me for the next several days or weeks.
So this one is for my young people specifically, right? And it's just kind of tailored to business, not necessarily this business, but just in general. And so what advice would you give young people who want to follow a similar path?
I would say learn everything you can and don't be scared to work for the knowledge. So when I thought I might want to do this, for us, especially in our community, Black folks, people of color, it can be really important to have a credential. Somebody else might be able to just say, hey, I'm good at this, and they're off and running. But for me, at least in my experience, it's been really important to have a credential. So that's why I went to Moonshine University to do the executive bourbon steward program there.
Okay.
I went and sat for
Moonshine University.
Yeah, it's a real thing in Kentucky. I went to the Wine, Spirits, and Educational Trust to get, they call it WITSET certified, to taste and be informed about alcohol. And then I did a couple of other programs that helped me increase my knowledge base that I could put on paper.
Okay.
So that when I go to the small business office, small business
Right.
loan, it's not just I have a good idea.
Okay.
I've actually done the work and I have paper that says I at least know what I'm talking about, right? And then I came back before we opened and I did an internship for more than a year at a local distillery where I was already a kind of a senior official in government, but my now they call it your 5 to 9, but mine was 6 to midnight. My 6 to midnight, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, was working in a distillery. I started off scrubbing, again, senior government official. At nighttime, I started off scrubbing labels off of bottles. Just because the dude who owns the distillery wanted to make sure I wasn't just fly by night. So
but I think that's important.
Yeah, he gave me all the grunt work to start with, and I did it. Yeah. And then as I was there, we started getting more into the actual operations of the distillery, and he just was telling me more. And I was working for him for free, but I was getting all the knowledge that I could. Absolutely. I was writing notes constantly.
So in that regard, would you really consider that working for free? Because you working, but you still getting information that's gonna help you to get kind of where you want to be.
Yeah, I would say no. I wouldn't consider it working for you. Knowledge. I don't think knowledge is power. I think knowledge might be currency. I think putting it into practice is power.
That's important.
Like when you can execute based on what you have, and that's what that was about.
I think I just wanted them to hear that. Because it's like now it's like a microwavable society, and I gotta have it tomorrow, and I'm like, but it's still a process.
It's still a process,
and it's gonna take time.
Yeah.
And when you hit that roadblock, it don't mean stop.
Right.
I mean, figure out where you went left, went right, center, and keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're gonna make a ton of mistakes, and when you get into business, sometimes they're gonna be expensive mistakes, but you gotta keep going. You can't let it bog you down. And again, those are lessons.
Right.
You pay for that lesson.
Right. Exactly.
and you take it as such. Now you can't necessarily make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, because that might hurt you a little bit.
But you got to learn and grow. Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you balance personal life and your business or the community?
There is no balance. There isn't.
Okay.
If you want to be great at something, your life is going to be out of balance.
I agree.
And so what you have to do is understand how much you can get off balance without crashing. And so, right now my life is heavy on the, we have to keep this business. This is, I'm 100% committed to this. This is my full-time job, even though I'm not making the same full-time money that I was making. But I'm pouring into it because I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I know that it's gonna pay off.
Okay.
But it's out of balance on my family side. I'm not at everything I probably want to be at related to family.
Okay.
It's out of balance on the health side. I know I'm not exercising as much as I should, or eating the way I should.
Right.
But I know that.
Yeah.
So as I continue to grow the business and can delegate time and responsibility to other people, I can start to add that balance back. And that's one of the other things that actually, speaking of motivation, motivates me to do well in the business and to get the right processes and things in places, because I know the payoff is I got more time to do the other things that are important to get that balance back. So it keeps you grinding on the one side to try to balance out the other side.
Okay. And so what role do you think young people play in shaping the future of our community?
I mean, they are core. You young folks, I mean, you might not do what I'm doing, but whatever you're doing is going to drive your own community. And so, how you show up for that is going to be how you impact the community. If you, and it's going to be how the community rallies around you, right? Like I think people, once they know you care, macro level, once they know you care about what you're doing and care about what you're doing for them, they're going to rally around you, and we continue to create community in that way. So to your point about us being a microwave society, I also think we've somewhat become insular, where we're now, because I can create my own business from my desk.
That's true.
And never have to go anywhere,
That's true.
But then you may be having an impact that way.
Right.
But you may be able to exponentially increase that impact with someone you meet somewhere.
Being more present.
Showing up for things. I had a gentleman in here, again, of cybersecurity, very wealthy gentleman who has his own firm for years.
Okay.
And he's going, he's starting a new chapter in his company.
Okay.
And that one of the things he said was, I've handicapped myself because I've been in the lab for 2 years trying to get this company together. And I have let these relationships kind of die on the vine that I used to have. And so that's why he came back to this last event, was I need to reestablish and figure out what all my peers are doing.
Right.
And then also figure out ways I can be of value to them.
Right.
And that's how I continue to, that's how I get myself back in the game, kind of thing. And so I would just highly recommend you start building those pathways to other people, building those relationships, so that you can help each other and grow. Yeah.
And so if you could change one thing about your field or industry, what would it be?
About the industry, man, just one thing. I think the industry is in a lot of ways is highly regulated, but the regulations differ from state to state, municipality to municipality.
Makes sense.
For someone that's a small producer, it can be very, very complicated to try to navigate if we're expanding into Virginia or to Pennsylvania or into Massachusetts that have different laws and different processes, different fees. So you almost want more sort of regulations and statutory laws and those kind of things to help guide the path of the industry and protect the industry, because there are places where there are no repercussions for missteps or abuses, and there are places where there's incredible repercussions for missteps.
Right.
And so, I mean, but you got to figure that out as you go. So for my industry, I think maybe that one thing would be to try to corral the fractured nature of like the laws and the legalities around it.
Okay.
That help us to like navigate throughout as we kind of try to scale and expand.
Okay. So lastly, how can people get involved or support your mission and what you're doing?
Well, I mean, tell people about us. Like you might not partake in alcohol, which is fine, but we do other things. So like I said, with the community, like the pop-ups, like if you know somebody that's I don't know, selling friendship bracelets, let them know about us. Let them know they have a place. Let them know someone is interested in their success, right? That they might not know about. Like that's we want to be invested in our community, but also in the individual success that come here and like sort of take advantage of our service there. Also, if you do partake, obviously asking for us, even in a place we're not on the bar. Hey, do you have Arthur Wheeler on here? Because it starts to put it in the atmosphere, and it starts to get people thinking about who it is, even if they don't know, right? Like they can start to sort of say, oh, somebody asked for that.
Right.
Somebody asked for that.
Right.
Somebody asked for that. And then at some point, someone's going to say, well, how can we get it? Because now we want to be able to sell it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's another way to support us. Anywhere you go that has alcohol, if you partake, the bar, the restaurant, the retail store, is to just keep asking for us.
Right. So for everybody who might not know about Arthur Wheeler, how can they find you?
Arthur Wheeler, I'm not Arthur Wheeler the third, I'm Floyd Arthur Wheeler. My dad likes to say I'm the third. But
Okay.
I was like, once you added my first name Floyd, you kind of killed that cycle. But you can find us at arthurwheeler.com.
Okay.
Or awsco.co. So just the acronym plus .co. So we have those go to the same place.
Okay.
And we ship to 45 states.
Okay.
Right now. We are 7 times internationally awarded in our first year. So
Okay.
in the last 15 months, we've
Okay.
won seven awards. So if you Google us, just Google Arthur Wheeler.
Okay.
You'll find us. We're
Okay.
usually the first one that comes up. And then we also have a tasting room and cocktail lounge where we serve craft cocktails. We have a scratch bar, so we make our liqueurs, our syrups, and everything from scratch.
Okay.
Here at the bar. So again, just trying to promote that we're doing everything we can to make the product elevated.
Okay.
So come visit us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're open 4 to 9, Wednesday through Friday, and then Saturdays and Sundays we open at noon.
And the address?
1001 Prince George's Boulevard.
1001
Suite
Prince
200,
George's Boulevard.
Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
Well, I'm hoping we can maybe partnership and bring our organization here and kind of piggyback on each other and see if we can make something happen.
Absolutely.
Man, I appreciate
that's the
it,
only
man.
way we all win.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right.